Welcome dear friends. In this video we are going to learn about parasympathomimetic agents, also called as cholinomimetic agents. So let's start. First we will look at some history, that is how this chemical transmission of neurotransmitters was discovered. Autonomic nervous system for a long time occupied center stage in pharmacology of chemical transmission. We know that nervous system was divided into two parts, mainly into two parts, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system consists of all the nerves outside the brain and spinal cord. So again, peripheral nervous system is divided into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system, and third class is enteric nervous system. So in autonomic nervous system there is parasympathetic and sympathetic subclasses. So autonomic nervous system was occupied center stage for discovering various chemical transmissions that occur in body. In 1869, actions of muscarine and atropine on the muscarinic receptor was discovered. Muscarine is an agonist. Muscarine is an agonist at muscarinic acetylcholine receptor. So it can mimic the actions of acetylcholine release. That is, it shows similar physiological effect on the body as that of acetylcholine. And atropine is an antagonist, that is, it can inhibit the release of acetylcholine at muscarinic receptor. In 1905, Langley discovered the same for nicotine and curare. So nicotine is a substance which activates the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors that are present at neuromuscular junction and some autonomic ganglia sites. And curare is a inhibitory substance that can inhibit the release of the action of acetylcholine at nicotinic receptors. In 1921, Louis conducted the famous experiment on a frog's heart. He showed that the inhibitory action of vagus nerve vagus nerve modulates the heart rate and contraction. So by what mechanism it decreases the heart rate and contraction? So he conducted experiment and showed that there is a release of acetylcholine at the nerve ending, and this is responsible for physiological effect, that is decrease in heart rate and contraction. In 1930, Dale, that is, he also conducted famous experiment on leech dorsal muscle that shows release of acetylcholine at neuromuscular junction that is responsible for contraction of skeletal muscle. So what is meant by parasympathomimetic drugs? So mimic means to show similar effects. So these are drugs which produce actions similar to that of acetylcholine, either by directly interacting with cholinergic receptors or by increasing availability of acetylcholine at these sites. So parasympathomimetic agents mimic the actions of acetylcholine by two ways. First, they directly interact with cholinergic receptors, that is called cholinergic agonists, or by increasing acetylcholine at synaptic site. These are called as anticholinesterases. So this is the classification of parasympathomimetic agents. The first class is directly acting cholinergic drugs. So in this subclass is choline esters. So choline esters include examples include acetylcholine, which is endogenous parasympathomimetic agent, methacholine, carbachol, bithanchol. Some natural alkaloids include pilocarpine, muscarine, aricoline, nicotine, and there are some synthetic agonists. For example, civimeline, varenicline, oxotremorine, and tremorine. So these are directly acting cholinergic drugs that show similar actions as that of acetylcholine. Next class is indirectly acting cholinergic drugs. So these are drugs that mimic the action of acetylcholine by inhibiting the enzyme choline esterase that can hydrolyze the acetylcholine present in synapse. So by inhibiting the enzyme choline esterase, these agents increase the concentration of acetylcholine at synapse that can interact with the effector cell and show maximum physiological action. So indirectly acting agents include two types, reversible and irreversible. So reversible choline esterase inhibitors include carbamates and acridine. So carbamates examples include physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, hydrophonium, etc. So reversible choline esterase inhibitors are inhibit the enzyme for a short time. So these are called reversible. That is, the bond between choline esterase inhibitor and choline esterase enzyme was hydrolyzed. So it show its effect for short time. But in case of irreversible inhibitors, the bond between choline esterase inhibitor and choline esterase enzyme was somewhat strong. So it takes very long time to hydrolyze the bond. So the irreversible choline esterase inhibitor show the effect for long time. Examples include organophosphates and carbamates. So organophosphates are examples include ecothiopate, parathion, malathion, tabun, sarin, and soman. Parathion and malathion are insecticides used in farming. Tabun, sarin, and soman are nerve gases that are used for in warfare. So this diagram shows the cholinergic neuronal mechanism, how acetylcholine released at synaptic site and show its effect. So this is postganglionic neuron. Here is acetylcholine packed into vesicle. After stimulation, that is entry of calcium into the cell, acetylcholine is released and it is released into synapse. Here is then it shows its action by binding to muscarinic and nicotinic receptors. Acetylcholine shows its action by binding to muscarinic and nicotinic receptors at effector cell. Then acetylcholine at synapse is hydrolyzed by choline esterase enzyme that hydrolyzes acetylcholine into choline and acetate that are inactive. So this enzyme terminates the action of acetylcholine. But by using anticholinesterases, here you can see anticholinesterase that can inhibit the hydrolysis of acetylcholine and can mimic the action of or increase the concentration of acetylcholine at synapse that can bind with muscarinic and nicotinic receptor and show its pharmacological action. So this diagram is about muscarinic signaling. So this is about in heart tissue. So this is postganglionic neuron. Here is acetylcholine molecules in neuron, that is in vesicles. Then it is released into the synapse. After entry of calcium, then it binds to this M2 receptor, that is M2 muscarinic receptors. Where these are present? So these M2 muscarinic receptors are present on HALT. So after binding to M2 receptors, that is these are 7 transmembrane or G protein coupled receptors. The G protein is GI, that is GI means adenylyl cyclase inhibitor. So it inhibits the adenylyl cyclase that inhibit the release of calcium and thus decreases the rate and contraction of the heart beat. So this is about nicotinic signaling. Here is postganglionic neuron. This is acetylcholine molecules in vesicles. After release into synapse, acetylcholine molecules bind to nicotinic receptor. That is, nicotinic receptor is a ligand gated ion channel. So ligand gated ion channel that have a pore in the middle. After binding acetylcholine to this ion channel, the pore was opened and through it sodium ions can go into the cell, and this entry of sodium ions into the cell causes depolarization. So after depolarization, contraction of the skeletal muscle takes place. So this is action potential generated after entry of sodium into the cell, and this is responsible for contraction. This is neuromuscular junction. Here is skeletal muscle and this is neuron. So this junction is called neuromuscular junction. That is the junction between neuron and muscle tissue. Then we will look at effects of direct acting cholinomimetic agents on various organ systems. So here is organ innervated and the response produced by agents. So first organ is eye. So sphincter muscle of iris are contracted, that is meiosis is produced when muscarinic agonists, that is cholinomimetic agents, are administered, and ciliary muscles are also contracted for accommodation of near vision. So for near vision, ciliary muscles are contracted. It is due to cholinomimetic agents. The next organ is heart. So parasympathetic innervation is all throughout the body. The heart is innervated by vagus nerve. So SA node, AV node, atria and ventricles has connections of parasympathetic neuronal innervation. So by cholinomimetic action, that is by agents that show similar actions to that of acetylcholine. So what is the effect? So on SA node, decrease in heart rate, that is, we know that vagus nerve stimulation causes decrease in heart rate, that is negative chronotropic effect. Negative chronotropy means decrease in rate. Next, atria, decrease in contractile strength. So atrial muscle fibers are contracted, but this contraction was decreased by administration of parasympathomimetic agents or by endogenous acetylcholine. So next is AV node, decrease in conduction velocity, also called as negative dromotropic effect. So negative dromotropic effect means decrease in conduction velocity through AV node, that is increase in refractory period. So what is refractory period? So refractory period is a time between two cardiac cycles, that is ventricles. Next, small decrease in contractile strength. So ventricles are not much responsive to parasympathomimetic agents, but the contraction of ventricles decrease, but it is very small. So next organ is blood vessels. Sorry, the next site is blood vessels, that is arteries and veins. So after acetylcholine release, arteries and veins they dilate, that is vasodilation was takes place by endothelium dependent relaxing factors, that is ADRF. So nitric oxide was released, that is responsible for vasodilation, or constriction also takes place at high dose. After administration of high dose, constriction was takes place due to direct action of agonists, that is acetylcholine, on blood vessels. At low dose, dilation takes place, and at high dose, constriction, that is vasoconstriction of arteries and veins takes place. Next, what is the effect on lung? So first is bronchial muscle. So bronchial muscles are contracted, that is contraction, bronchoconstriction takes place due to parasympathomimetic agents. So this is to considered in case of asthmatic patients, because in asthmatic patients there is presence of bronchoconstriction. So we should avoid these parasympathomimetic agents in asthmatic patients. Bronchial glands, there is stimulation of bronchial glands, that is bronchial glands secrete mucus. So after administration of parasympathomimetic agents, the secretion is increases, so it can result in congestion. Next is gastrointestinal tract, that is GI tract. The motility is increased, that is parasympathomimetic agents increase motility of the, that is peristalsis movement in the GI tract is stimulated. So the agonists are spasmodic in action, they cause spasm in the GI tract. So sphincters are relaxed, that is various sphincters, pyloric sphincter for example, are relaxed due to acetylcholine release, and secretion are stimulated. Various secretions of GI tract like pancreatic juice are secreted due to parasympathetic innervation. Next is urinary bladder. So detrusor muscles in the urinary bladder are contracted, that is voiding of urine was takes place. Trigone and sphincter muscles are relaxed. Next is about glands. So all glands, particularly sweat glands, salivary, lacrimal, nasopharyngeal, are stimulated, and secretion of it is enhanced in presence of parasympathomimetic agents. So these are the some effects of direct acting cholinergic stimulants, that is direct acting parasympathomimetic agents on various organ systems in the body. So next is about clinical uses of muscarinic agonists and related drugs. That is acetylcholine has two receptors, nicotinic receptors and muscarinic receptors. So what is the clinical uses of muscarinic agonist and related drugs? So first is pilocarpine. So pilocarpine is a alkaloid that is used for in eye drops because pilocarpine causes constriction of the pupils and have been used to treat glaucoma. That is, in glaucoma, what is glaucoma? So in glaucoma, there is increased intraocular pressure in the eye. Intra means within, ocular means eye. So in the eye, there is increased pressure due to more secretion of aqueous humor or due to less drainage. That is, if secretion of aqueous humor is more or its drainage is less, there increased intraocular pressure is generated, that is responsible for glaucoma. That is, it is the major cause of blindness. So for glaucoma, in the treatment of glaucoma, pilocarpine eye drops are used because this the pilocarpine causes constriction of the pupils and it is used for in treatment of glaucoma. Again, pilocarpine or cevimeline, a selective M3 agonist. So cevimeline is a selective M3 muscarinic receptor agonist. So these are used for to increase salivation and lacrimal secretion in patients with dry mouth or dry eyes. For example, following irradiation or in patients with autoimmune damage to the salivary or lacrimal glands, as in Sjogren's syndrome. So for example, in case of dry mouth or dry eyes, in some patients there is symptoms of dry eyes and dry mouth. So that is treated by pilocarpine and cevimeline. So we know that after administration of parasympathomimetic agents, there is increased secretion of sweat glands, lacrimal glands, etc. So by using these agents, we can treat dry mouth, dry eyes. Next is bithancol or disticmine, a cholinesterase inhibitor. So bithancol is a direct agonist, but it can also inhibit cholinesterase, that is enzyme responsible for hydrolysis of acetylcholine at synaptic sites. But these are seldom used as stimulant laxatives or to stimulate bladder emptying. But these are nowadays not used. So next is clinical uses of anticholinesterase drugs. Anticholinesterase means these agents inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme. So what are the clinical uses? So first is to reverse the action of non-depolarizing neuromuscular blocking drugs. That is, non-depolarizing neuromuscular blocking drugs means the drugs which block the neuromuscular junction. So for reversing this effect, we can use cholinesterase, anticholinesterase drugs. Atropine must be given to limit parasympathomimetic effects. So atropine is a antagonist at muscarinic receptors. So to limit the parasympathomimetic agents, we give atropine. Next is to treat myasthenia gravis, we give neostigmine or pyridostigmine. So myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder that weaken the skeletal muscles. That is, autoantibodies are generated that attack nicotinic receptors, and there is decrease in nicotinic receptors present at neuromuscular junction. So this is responsible for weakening of movement, that is movement of muscle or contraction of muscles was decreased. This is responsible for weakening. So we can give neostigmine or pyridostigmine that inhibit the anticholinesterase, that inhibit cholinesterase enzyme and increase the acetylcholine molecules that can interact with nicotinic receptors and give some relief in myasthenic gravis patients. Next is as a test for myasthenia gravis and to distinguish weakness caused by anticholinesterase overdosage. So hydrophonium is used for as a diagnostic agent for myasthenia gravis. So to know myasthenia gravis is present or not, we give hydrophonium, and it is also used for to show is there cholinergic crisis, that is after giving and cholinesterase inhibitors, that is anticholinesterase drugs, there is more amount of cholinomimetic effect. So to show this we can use hydrophonium. In Alzheimer's disease we can use anticholinesterase or anticholinesterase drugs, for example donepezil. In Alzheimer's disease, because acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter in brain also, so by increasing acetylcholine at brain tissue we can increase cognition and memory power in Alzheimer patients. And in treatment of glaucoma, we have seen these agents are used in treatment of glaucoma to decrease intraocular pressure. Thank you. I hope you have understand all the concepts. Give your feedback. Thank you.